I'm going to go in the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to our world. Good afternoon in Liberia. I know it's in the evening, so I would say good evening in Liberia and around the world, wherever you are watching us from. Today is another day for us to discuss issues affecting our community. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. Today's program is all about Liberia and what we do in our country. And I know what we are about to discuss is affecting a lot of people in the United States and maybe in other part of the diaspora. Today we're talking about the Liberian Embassy, how the interaction, how our transaction there is. I know my CEO said the Liberian U.S. Embassy unprofessionalism. That's what on there, but it's the frustration that we get at the embassy. That's what we're about to talk about. If you can join us, please, we will really appreciate it. But before we go further into this discussion, I want to play a song from Kevin Adams that will introduce us today. Yes, Liberia is on the rise again, and we shall never be strangers in our own land. And that means that matches the topic we are discussing today because we are looking at the Liberian embassies, Liberians who have left the country and have gotten citizenship in other countries and trying to go back. It is a frustration all of the time to get visa process to go to your own country, the country of your nativity. At least now that we have had a dual citizenship, it should be much easier. But those people who have decided, you know what, I will get my dual citizenship status, but for now, let me just keep the country I'm in or my adopted country citizenship and let's use a visa. Maybe I want to be protected. I don't know, but I want to be protected or I want to be more secure. So when I'm going home, I need a visa. Now, what does the process look like in a visa? What does the Liberian embassy do when we apply for visa? I can give a personal story, and I know of many. Okay, but before I go into mine, as we're trying to put this show together, we're trying to bring a different topic, by the way. I received a call from one dear friend of mine, sharing his first. In tears, he was literally in tears, telling me, "Hey, man, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm a few days away from my departure, and man, I can't get my visa. I sent my document. We are 10 people traveling to Liberia. We have solicited items that we want to donate to people back home. We have sent those items back home. We are told that the items have reached, and now we have put in for our visas more than 3 weeks ago, and still we have not received it. And we're trying to reach out to the embassy, we can't get anybody to talk to. Okay, or you call the phones, nobody respond. You send emails, nobody reply. It is over and over. They try more than 3 days straight trying to get answer from the embassy, and they could not get. Fortunate for him, according to him, one of his friends called, or one of the travelers called, and he was lucky to get through. And when he got through to the embassy, this person he talked to told him, "Hey, yes, I think your visa, in order for you to get it, you have to send $50 each. That is 10 people. They got to send $50 each for an expedited or visa." But this shouldn't have been treated that way, because according to the Liberian Embassy or things that they have, their guidelines on the website, you have 12 working or business day to receive your visa if you pay the $160 or so, or $180. When you pay the $180, you got 12 business day to receive your visa. Okay, but they put their visa application in fact, it reached, according to him, it reached at the embassy, because when we process our paperwork here, we have to have a return envelope. The return envelope and what we're sending, it has a tracking number, so we use that tracking number to make sure that the visa or the application have reached. According to him, they received their application on time, right? For more than that will give them ample time that the process will be processed and sent to them. So when they send them their application, it went in, they verified that it reached before we enter February. Now, after 12 days, as stipulated by the Liberian Embassy, they had not received their visa. 13 days, 14 days, 15 days. They decided, okay, you know what? Time is coming. We need to start calling. So they started calling. They called the first few days, no answer. They kept calling and sending emails. And it happens to every one of us who want to travel. Okay, you get on it, you become edgy. For me, I had a long time when mine was happening. So because I was leaving in May, but I put my application in December of the previous year. So I had a long time. So I don't like to wait for last minute time. So with that, I could not. I mean, I had time just in case something happened, I could reach out to somebody else. But for them, they did not have that opportunity, you know. So I'm sorry about that. They try to make sure that the visa, you know, can come. But after the call, they were not getting through, and they finally got through. And the guy is telling him that after waiting more than 15 days for their visa, they should not pay extra $50 each. That is $500 for 10 visas to be expedited. Well, that is normally done for next day visa, because if you put in your application, you pay your $160 or $150 or $180, $160 to $180 for your regular visa, and then you pay $50 for the next day. So if I were to send my application today, right? I send my application today. The extra $50 that I'm paying is when that application reach and they receive it on Monday. Let's say today is Wednesday, or let's say Monday, and I send my visa. 2 days later, they receive the application. On that day they receive it on Wednesday. I got 2 days to receive my visa, so I should receive my visa on Friday. That is why you're paying the $50. But this is not a case. They went through the regular process, but the time given them from the Liberian Embassy expired, and now they're trying to find out what's going on. You know, but again, they could not give them their visa, and their paperwork was lying there. Maybe it had already been processed, but they didn't really they didn't care about it, and they just left it unattended. So they had to pay the $50, and I still have to do a follow up as to whether he's going to receive the visa or not. But that is the problem we're going in, right? I mean, that we face here. We as Liberians living in the diaspora trying to return home using American visa, I mean the Liberian visa, right? Using a Liberian passport, I mean American passport, or any other national or foreign passport entry into Liberia. Those are the frustrations we face, right? The money we're supposed to take to invest directly in the Liberian economy, we have to use some of those money, when speaking from this guy experience, to bribe the Liberian embassy here to get your document processed. So the corruption is not only in Liberia, but it's also across the ocean in the foreign land that we are residing in, which is sad, you know. And it is unprofessional. It is very unprofessional that you would take my money and you don't process my paperwork, and then you will have to ask me to bribe you to do your job. That is just unprofessional. But hey, Liberians out there, you who are in the diaspora, anywhere you are, if you think you have faced this problem, let us discuss this. Let us see what we can do to mitigate some of these problems that we face. Now, but one of the questions that come to mind is when I want to ask us here, and if we can address it, is this. Because one of the requirements for the Liberian Embassy, in order for you to get a visa, is to have your itinerary. That is, you must purchase your plane ticket. My question is that really necessary? Is it necessary that I should buy my plane ticket? Because what if I buy my plane ticket and the day I'm supposed to travel, I have not received my visa based on the delay from the embassy? Then what? Is the Liberian government going to pay for my plane ticket? You know? So is it really necessary that we should have a plane ticket attached to our application? So these are questions we need to ask. We need to ask ourselves and ask our Liberian embassy whether they are doing their citizens justice by putting these, in my opinion, unnecessary requirements, because that is particularly unnecessary when it comes to or getting visa to go to Liberia. It shouldn't be required that we should have a plane ticket bought before we can apply for visa. That is, to me, that should not be one of the requirements, because if every Liberians in Liberia were to buy a plane ticket and then go to the American embassy for visa and they get denied, then what? Is the American government going to pay for their plane ticket? No. So it shouldn't be one of the requirements, in my opinion. But that is for you, Liberians, you and I who in the diaspora, who facing these problems, to start asking our representatives in our government to remove that particular aspect of it, because they are most of the time cause of delay of your visas being or processed. Okay, so I want you to say in this. Dr. With me today, I have Dr. Positive, our CEO and overall boss, and our technical man. He's in the background. He will be joining us later. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to educate us on this process. Now, let me give you my experience when I was doing mine in 2023. I was to leave 2024 May, so I applied for my visa. I was renewing my passport. I was not ready applying for visa, but I was renewing my passport. So to renew my passport, I sent him my old passport and sent in all the required information they wanted, and I gave it to them. Well, I was applying for visa. Sorry, I was applying for visa because I had to send after the wasted all the time. Then I had to apply for passport. Yeah, but so I was applying for visa. So I put in all the necessary documents and did the application with everything they asked for. It passed 4 days, 5 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and I said, "Oh, but what's going on?" Because I had a long period of time, I didn't really mind. So I just felt, I'm traveling May, so December I'm putting my stuff in. Well, but come a month in January, mid-January, I'm sitting there like, okay, what's going on? So I decided to call the embassy. I called the Liberian Embassy because, this time we're talking transition, right? We're talking leaving from the George Weah government to the Bouaka government. So within that period of time, I will expect there will be problem at the top level, but not, at the bottom level. I think the guys out there should be working because the country is still working. Doesn't matter whether we have change in government. But I kept calling and calling all the different consulate offices, none. The Georgia office, the person that is there, I know them and I talked to them directly, but at the time, they were not issuing visa. So she told me, look, we are not issuing visa, but try to get with the the Liberian Embassy in Washington, D.C. They are the only one right now issuing visa. I call and text and email, nothing. I reached out to the New York consulate office, the same thing. Call, text, email, whatever you're going to talk about, nothing. I reached out to the Minnesota. Minnesota, no answer at all. So, but then after almost a month, I received my documents back without a visa process. Now, they just indicated with a handwritten note, visa not processed, no reason whatsoever. And I'm sitting there like, what? What if I were traveling this month? What was going to happen? So it got me mad. And I said, you know what? I'm not filing for visa. I'm going to send for my passport in Liberia. And that's how, instead of traveling the last time with American visa, with Liberian visa, I went, and since I had enough time, I did my passport. Guess what? My passport came in less than 3 weeks. I sent the passport, I mailed the passport in Liberia, they processed it, they mailed it back to me. In 3 weeks, I got my passport done. So that just tells me that even in Liberia, The process is more efficient than the United States, where you have principles, where you have policies in place, because some of these people that are working at the embassy here have worked in the American system and they know how process work. So if they cannot practice what they learn in the American government or in the American private, wherever they work, then tell me, would these people leave from here and go back to Liberia and do anything better? No, it just tells me what it is. These people are just unprofessional regardless of where you put them. Even though they are in a country where there's a system to follow, they still don't want to follow the same system. They still want to carry on the ill practices and the unprofessionalism that, like Dr. Posita is starting the show. They carry on the same unprofessionalism in the United States, which is very, very disingenuous. I mean, disingenuous to the Liberian populace in the United States. But Dr. Posita, welcome to the show. And this topic is frustrating, and I know a lot of Liberians are facing this problem, but this is just something that somebody cried out to me about a few days ago.
Yeah, I was trying to get a question you asked so I can follow up on it before I get into my own story. But you did ask a question earlier.
Yeah, so my question was, is it necessary for one of the requirements to obtain a Liberian visa to have
before you apply
itinerary attached?
Yeah.
Is it necessary?
Totally no. I think you shouldn't have to have your plane ticket, because based on the unprofessionalism of the Liberian Embassy, right? And the way they delay papers, they shouldn't ask anybody to have their plane ticket before they apply for visa. You should apply for visa saying, I'm going to Liberia. I'm going to Liberia somewhere in May or somewhere in July. This is why I need a visa. But looking back into time, maybe 20 or 60 years ago, right? When Liberia was Liberia, when people had respect for the work they do, right? They didn't want you to apply for visa, since if you look at the requirement, right? When you apply for visa, the day your application gets started, right? From that day, or the day your application get approved, from that day, your visa process start, right? So if you're traveling in December and you apply for visa in January, your visa will expire before your flying date. So back in the day, that I believe, from my understanding or from my little sense of analysis, right? I believe somebody with sense at that time, somebody with professionalism at that time said nobody should apply for visa maybe 90 or 60 days before their travel time if they don't have a plane ticket. Because maybe what they were finding was people will apply for visa and say, I'm going to Liberia, so and so time. They gave them the visa. By the time they get their plane ticket, the visa expired. Then they will go and start complaining and say, hey, we applied for a visa. We got to the embassy. They said we're not permitted to travel. Why? So maybe that's when they came up with that policy and say nobody should apply for visa when you don't have a plane ticket. But hear me again. I said back in the day, probably there were professionals at the embassy. There were people that respect their job, that people that saw value in their job. Now we don't have that system anymore, so they need to cancel that. With the current system we have, until we can have somebody genuine, until we can have somebody with integrity, that policy need to be canceled. So I would that's my answer to you. I hope it helped. All right. So now we'll go with my own story. Last year, my mom decided, hey, I'm tired with America. I've been in America. I don't want to be here anymore. And the visa, the passport expires every 10 years. So she had already spent 10 years in the US. So our thing was, oh man, just go to Liberia, and then you get your passport in Liberia. The first thing the Oman said that won't be part of the Oman. I mean, we agreed that it was going to be easy. When the Oman was about to go, they said, oh, she can't go because her passport has expired. So then we decided that, oh, we got to get the Oman passport. So we applied to the embassy in America here for the Oman passport. When we applied for the passport, after it was getting closer to the time for the Oman to travel, we still haven't received a passport. So we have to take on, we pay $150. Actually, I think we paid $200 or whatever you have to pay for expedition, right? We pay the money for expedition so that the passport will come in time. Like all of us put together, we say, oh, we want Oman to go. We want no problem with the Oman travel. So we put the money together, send it to the embassy. Today, we didn't get one piece of paper to say, oh, your Oman application was wrong. Your Oman the document was run out, why we didn't process our passport. So it was similar to what you said between the WIA transition and the Waka administration, right?
Yeah.
It was getting closer to that. Elections were going on. So basically, because the woman traveled in June of last year. Yeah, so I think, yeah, Waka had just taken over too. So even if Waka had taken over, right, like you were saying, it shouldn't be an effect to the process, an impact on the process that is happening in Washington, D.C. That process is set in stone, you can say. So basically, the woman didn't get her passport after we paid expedition fee, everything, send a passport, the return envelope, everything. At the embassy in America here, the woman never got her passport. So we had to pay somebody in Liberia again. You know, when you pay for expedition in Liberia, you got to pay for the pen, the paper, everything that they use in Liberia. So we had to do that process, pay somebody in Liberia to get a passport done. Fortunately for us, somebody was coming from Liberia to America that had that person brought a Oman passport. So my question is, right, if my mom went through that same process, you went through that same process, how many Liberians will go through that same process before we decide to file a class action lawsuit against the Liberian Embassy? You understand? Because you would think that 150 is nothing, but the last time we talked about it, you work 10 hours for $10, $100. You work 15 hours, that's $150. So even in this United States, that these people that are working at the embassy, they have worked for government, they have worked for this system, they know how high it is for people to get money. And they're just eating our money. What happening to the money? If the money gets into the embassy, we're not getting our paper. Where is that money going? That's the first question. Then the second question is, why are they so unprofessional? I know. Let me show you the people your title, your show title, and I got pissed when I saw the thing. Why do we let the sugarcoat stuff? You said the frustration at the Liberian embassy in the United States. A frustration, not the word, because even though we frustrated, unprofessionalism is at the highest level at that embassy, because you call, no answer. You write, no answer. You whatever you do, no answer. And you don't even have a redress at the Liberian in Liberia to say, all right, I have my receipt, I have everything here. Where do I get my money back? You understand? Where do I get my money back? Because if somebody provide you a service, they agree to provide you a service, and that service is not provided, they should refund you. But we don't have no refund policy. We don't have nothing with the Liberian system. The same way it happened in Liberia, the same way we're doing it in America here. Somebody have to take some action. Somebody have to take some stand. And the fact that we are doing this show, you'll be surprised. The same way a friend called you. My sister-in-law called me because when she did a passport, there was no issue. There was no redress. Nobody was responding to her. Then she called me. She said, Steven, the people are not giving the Oman passport. You know, what can we do? And I was like, all right, I can do this and then do that. The first thing she said was, Steven, if you go live with it in here, the woman will never get her passport, right? So just forget it for now. You understand? Because we are afraid of our own system, the way people get angry and treat you. So me, eventually, I sort of be going to Liberia. I sort of apply for visa. This show that we're doing now, I can tell you, maybe somebody watch it, they will not give me visa to come to Liberia again, because we're putting our mouth on them. Even though this is a true thing, their system is failing. Who stands up for the Liberian people? You understand? If I don't have to go back to Liberia, if they deny my visa, I believe this is a worthy cause for them to deny my visa on. So I'm going to put my mouth on it, and I think they are unprofessional. They need to fix their professionalism. They need to start working on it. And if we get about, I think I'm going to do a survey. If we get about 20 or 30 people that claim this thing happened to them, I know my mom's situation is there, your situation is there. We can start thinking about filing a lawsuit against the Liberian embassy. Somebody have to take action, because when these things happen in our community, all we say is, oh man, that you're Liberian, your family, let's forget about this thing. And we forget about everything, and the problem just continue. Even if we don't go anywhere, but the fact that we stay online, we go to the embassy and file a lawsuit against the embassy, and some action is being taken, they will fix that process. And my question to you, Sapolosia, before I stop talking, you see, I don't talk a lot. I'm a very shy person, right?
Yeah, say that to somebody who don't know you. So yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm a very shy person, but when something get on my nerves, I mean, you can see how all my veins are standing, right? So the question to you is, Sapolosia, if this is happening in the United States of America, the great United States of America, our embassy is unprofessional. Imagine what happened in Dubai, what happened in Malay, what happened in Ghana, what happened in Sierra Leone, where Liberian embassy is, that the people that are there have true African blood in them. They went to school in Africa, they did everything in Africa, and they know that they're supposed to get their cut for every transaction they make. If our US embassy in America here is doing that to our people, what about around the world, brother? What is happening?
So, and I think it just from what we experience in the States, I think it's happening everywhere. It might be worse in other places where uh they may have similar practice in the community. Because this is what I have said, but looking at what's going on at the Liberian Embassy here, it tells me that sometimes what we believe in, some of us believe in, doesn't work. Because I always believe that system you have in place tend to make people change and abide by the things that are happening within the system. For example, when you and I are in Liberia, or almost all Liberians that are here, somebody in Liberia, when they go to drive, they may drive on the wrong side. But when you come to the States, you don't drive on the wrong side because it is the law. You cannot do it. So that's why I believe if the system is there, that people are more likely to live in accordance with the system. But looking at the practices at the embassy here, and I think it's because it's within the confine of, it's considered Liberia because it's within our building. So everything that goes on there is not having the impact or the influence of an American society or culture, which I think makes it sad, right? Because those people in there, those people that are in the embassy, when they go, even if they don't work outside, when they walk outside of that embassy, they come out in the public. When they go to shop, they follow the process. When they go to pay their mortgage, their rent, their cell phone bill, and all those stuff they gotta pay, they follow a process. They know that if they pay for a service, they must get. In fact, in that building, they have electricity, they have phone, they got internet, they got all those things, and they know that those people are providing their services, and the services they are paying for, those people are providing them. If the people don't provide them, they know that they can take action against those people. And they, as an entity that is representing the Republic of Liberia, one, and representing all of the citizens or affiliate of Liberia, anybody that is associated with Liberia, that in this country, and people who want to travel to Liberia, you are representing them. You are representing that country. That's the first thing. And if you have that lack of professionalism, it is a problem. I mean, we got to be clear about it. It is not something to say we want to just discredit our country, we want to just talk negative about our country. No, but it is the reality that we are sitting in a place where we have system in place that we abide by those systems, but we don't practice the same system that is right outside of our steps in our houses. That is sad, and we need to think about it. Now,
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, now one of the things that I'm looking at is we need to have either in regional consular offices. Maybe the work is too much on the Liberian Embassy in DC. So we need to have active, effective, and efficient consular offices in the various regions. Maybe you can say the West region, the North region, the South region, the East region, whatever they want to divide it. But I think we need to have those in the United States, since America is so big, and that the embassy in Washington D.C. cannot handle, because even the one in New York does not work. The one in Minnesota is dormant. The one in Atlanta, Georgia is also dormant. I've interacted with all of them, and nothing is happening. So I think it's about time that we look at other options to make this process much easier. Yes.
Like Riverside Pro is saying, right? He said we need an online electronic application system. So, to answer your question, Riverside Pro, I'm an IT professional. What make online system work is if they already had what you call it, local or formal working system, right? The original system must be working first before you turn it online, right? At times. So if the process in the embassy is already screwed up and you create online form, like I think they at one point they introduced a form that you could fill up and get your passport. Basically you are creating more problems, right? Because if somebody received that application already, you mail it in, hard copy, and that person decide to take the money from their cash a check, right? Cash a check, and then basically put your paper under the table. If the online process get invented, it will be worse, right? Because this now is a money-making machine, right? People go there, they take their credit card information, they process the document, it go in that hole. Nobody will ever look at it. So the first thing that have to be fixed is the process that make this thing work. So before we go online, then once people have defined that process and make the thing work, then we can say now, since the reading the application is taking too long, the online process will be efficient. Then you can take that efficient process and turn it into an online system. So that's how online system get created. But if the system that is already there is totally broken, people don't care about you as a customer, like we do in Liberia. People don't care about you as a customer. Basically, you cannot turn it online. You cannot put that system online. And I'm just showing you guys the Liberian Embassy website quickly. You see here, they tell you that embassy will work 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. In America, here we work 8 to 5. The Liberian Embassy work 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So they don't already spend a lot of time.
5 hours.
They don't already spend a lot of time at the embassy. They don't spend a lot of time at the embassy. Why they decided on 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you ask me, people who check that embassy, people who live in DC, somebody else can go there and visit and see if the embassy is even open at 10 a.m. If it's open at 10 a.m., you know, let's check those stuff. Somebody should go there and verify whether the embassy is open at 10 a.m. for real. You understand? So now when you look on here, it tells you this is the application fee. There is an additional, but it doesn't tell you what's the application fee for visa, what's the application fee for passport and all those kind of stuff. So we don't even have the information on here already. That's the first problem. But let's just look at another website quickly. Every one of us we look at Ghana, right? Look at Ghana website. They tell you we got 2 visas that we issue. When you come on the website first, that's the first thing they tell you. We issue a single entry and a multiple entry, and they explain to you what the single entry means, what the multiple entry means. And then you go down here, you can see the different fees for those different applications. So for a single entry, it's $60. For a single entry expedited, it's $100 and stuff like that. So just informational, right? Information wise, the Ghana Embassy has something that tells you and it's stuff. And look at here, Ghana got a multiple entry visa for $100. Sapolosia, why is Liberia visa $150, right? And then it's not even guaranteed that when you pay that $150 for your visa, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the actual visa when you go to Liberia, because the guys at the port of entry, when you get to the airport, they can tell you, hey, your visa is 90 days, but they will stamp it for 30 days, or they will stamp it for 2 weeks. And me, Stephen Keller from Sepacom, they have told me that my visa in my own block country had expired. So I had to pay fine for leaving before I leave Liberia because I overstayed my visa. So my question was, if I had asked you that day, say, I don't want to pay for overstay visa, keep me in your country, say I violated your rule, were they going to arrest me and put me in jail for violating my stay of visa, or they were not going to let me fly? You understand? I didn't find out.
This will deport you.
Yeah, and that's what deport me to my country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my question. But out of fear, I was tired in Liberia already. I spent 1 month, almost 1.5 months by that time in Liberia. So I was tired because all my money not finished. I wanted to come back home to work. So I didn't want anything to impede that effort. So I just left. But all joke aside, to you guys watching, I know you will watch, you'll have people that watch us. This is a serious problem for our Liberian people. We need to stop hurting each other. You know, we don't want to wait for a lawsuit before we make the process right. So many families are being impacted, like our brother stated earlier here. Somebody is traveling, 10 Liberians, they are traveling, and all those people get their own little budget they're hoping to spend in Liberia. And then they apply for visa to come to our beloved country, then you holding their visa, you're not letting them to travel. You understand? This is sad. And once they don't get that visa, they can't go on their flight. They will either have, if they didn't put insurance on their ticket, they will lose their $1,500 they spend. You understand? So 10 times 1,500, that's $10,500 right there, right? $10,000 our Liberian people will be losing just because of somebody making, just being unprofessional doing their work. This is sad. And this is very, very sad. And our people, those of you working at the embassy, you need to really take this seriously and start doing something. For me, I don't know lawyers, but I think I'm going to start looking for somebody who do class action lawsuit. And I will start the survey. If I can get 100 people that say, hey, that's a positive, I was impacted. With 100 people on that paper, I'm going to start a class action lawsuit against the Liberian Embassy. And we need to take action, Sapolosi. I know I'm saying this online, but this is something that I think my journalism work will really start on that, because I was just IT guy, I was just doing it because out of the law for Liberia, but I'm taking the legal action out of law for my people. It's about time that our people start being hurt. I will leave that right there.
So then that brings me to another thing. If you look at the Liberian Embassy, and Liberian people for some reason would like holidays so much that we don't even think about the money we lose when we go on all the many holidays. So you work 4 hours a day, and then you got all these holidays excluding, don't forget about the Friday, the Saturday and Sundays, right? You observe all American holidays, which are federal holidays. And let me tell you, Liberian people, because when you hear holidays, you just feel that everything's shut down. No. In America, the only holidays that I know that things which most places will close is Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day. Those are the holidays that most places will close.
Even President Day, brother. Not cutting your President Day. President Day, I was working in America.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In the United States, the only holidays that most places close is Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day. And the only reason is because people are not going out to buy stuff and do other things. That's the only reason those places close. But most businesses are open on every federal holiday. Few businesses that will not be open are banks. Most banks will not be open. That's it. But most other businesses are open. So the idea that we got to shut everything down in Liberia and in America is just sad. We need to start looking at how we can spend our money well. But now let's come back to our unprofessionalism of the Liberian embassy workers. And this is what had happened. I know the first time I was going to Liberia was 2017 when I was trying to get my first visa. The guy who in fact, he was already in Maryland, so I mean in Washington DC, so it made it easier for me. So I sent my passport, my visa, my passport and stuff for visa. But when he went there, and he's not the only person that told me to go. Even my brother went there to the same thing when he was filing for his visa, same thing. You go to the embassy. The guys are sitting there, they're on their phone, you calling, you asking them question, nobody will look at you. They're on their phone texting and doing something completely, just ignoring you. Okay? You're asking them question, nobody won't answer you. And when somebody see you coming, they walk away from you. Nobody say, hey, good morning, sir, how can I help you? No. You will be chasing them to ask questions. The same behavior, in fact, worse behavior in the States than it is in Liberia. Lack of customer service. And that is how we lose money. And I want Liberians to look at it from a bigger picture. If I'm an investor trying to go invest money in Liberia to provide employment for Liberian citizens, and I go to get visa just to go for a visit to see what I can bring to Liberia, and I'm treated that way in America at the Liberian Embassy, what encouragement do you think I will have to want to invest millions of dollars in Liberia? We should think about all these things because we take these things lightly, but they have a lasting impact. They have more impact on other people than we think. The embassy is the gateway to Liberia in the diaspora. So you need to start behaving that way, knowing that our citizens depend on you. Think about it. Here we are. Let us look at what happened in Ukraine and other places. We saw what happened when other countries were rushing, moving in to pick up their people from Ukraine. Liberians, nobody. Okay? And it's the same thing happening here. Here we were when this immigration stuff went on. We have not heard anything from our embassy to say to the very Liberian communities to send either a letter or email or something to notify them, hey, this is what you need to do. So your embassy job is not just to come here and receive the money and live better life, but it is to serve your people. That's what the embassy is for. You are the one we should call on when we need help. Why is it when we leave from those Liberians who have now adapted to American citizenship, when they go to Liberia, the American embassy wants them to register with the State Department, just in case anything happens, they can evacuate them. Case in point, when coronavirus was hot, okay, when coronavirus was crazy, some of our friends who had American citizenship and were in Liberia, they benefited from the American government, because when things got bad, there were no flight going out. Guess what? The American government sent helicopter and other stuff and evacuated some of our friends. I have a friend from Houston here who were part of that group. That is what the embassy does for its people. But we have our embassies here. They don't care what happened to the citizen. That is just bad. And that's a common practice. It seems to be a common practice with our people, with our governments. We need to seek our children's or our citizens' interests. It doesn't matter where we are. Put our interests first. And besides, the visa process we're talking about, we're paying for it. We're paying you directly. It's not like the process of asking the government, because we are away from the government will say, oh, you're not paying tax to me. Okay, I understand that. But you didn't ask me to pay you tax. If you did, I will pay. But you, the American embassy, the Liberian embassy in the United States, we are paying you for your service. And you're not delivering the services. And you can't give us any explanation if you do not, or you don't process this paperwork. You don't tell us why you're not processing the paperwork. You just bundle stuff, shove in one paperwork, and send. And in fact, you're not doing any work, because the return of envelope you have, I pay for it. Okay, I pay for the return envelope. All you do is putting my document back in there and send it to me. And everything is paper for me. So why can't you just provide that services? The same services you who in the embassy, when you leave and go to Walmart, the same services you receive, that's the same service you should be providing back to your Liberian citizen.
Yeah, so let's answer Rosa's question, right? He said, do you think mailing passport information or information contained in it is a safer option in obtaining visa, right? Again, for every country for you to go to every country, they require you to send your visa. They require you to send your passport. So just the problem, the fact that the problem is not the process is not genuine. The fact that the process is not working is a danger for anybody, I will say. Sending your passport, because let's say you wanted to travel the next month, you send your passport, and now they don't have the visa stamp in your passport. What happened to your passport? Even if they decide not to send your passport back, what happened to your passport? You understand? So that's a fear in itself. So again, I would tell all of us, I'm going to try to create this form where if you were impacted and your passport is left at the Liberian embassy and you haven't received your passport, I think as a U.S. citizen as a U.S. citizen, you can reach out to your governor or somebody and say, hey, we have this problem. We constantly, or your state representative, we have this problem. We constantly reach out to the Liberian embassy, and the Liberian embassy is not taking any action on our behalf. We pay them our money, and they're not doing anything. What can we do? And I think that's a simple letter to send to your state representative in the U.S. here, and that person will take charge of that. And you know the way our people, we scare of white people. Once a white person show up at our embassy and ask everybody a question, that process will be fixed. And sad to say that, but seriously, if a state representative or a governor read a letter to the Liberian embassy and asked them that question, even without going to a lawyer, right? Without going to a lawyer, and we go with the our state representative route, the Liberian Embassy will start taking action. So imagine we have maybe 10 or 11 state representatives write the Liberian Embassy and ask them a question: why aren't you processing our citizens' visa to your country, right? I believe some action will be taken. Sapolosia, what do you think about that?
Oh no, yes, but yes, that is one way to go. But we should. I don't want also limit it just to the visa, because visa is not the only thing that we need from the Liberian embassy. We
Oh,
also
I
need
understand.
passports.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
for the American citizen, yeah, that's one thing you can do. If you write it's so easy for us here to reach out to our lawmakers or city mayor or governors or whatever, because you can go online, you reach out to them, and you normally get a response with the millions of people they got to deal with. Unfortunately for us Liberians reaching out to our own representatives, which we are not millions of people asking them, we are just few people, but they still don't respect us as they're supposed to, But yes, that could be another alternative that we can take to address some of these issues. And it will be sad that, oh, man, it will be sad for them to respond to somebody that do not look like them than the person who look like them. That would just be a
Yeah,
sad thing to do.
yeah.
It's sad. It's unfortunate that we got to go that route. But I want us to look at it also with a passport aspect, because it's not only visa. There should not only be the frustration there is not only limited to visa. It's passport. It's other services, like asking what's going on in our country. Okay, what's happening? We're supposed to be getting at least some update. We can establish Liberian communities in all cities, or in most cities. Okay, in all states. So at least that's what I'm trying to see, how we as Liberians, especially those who in leadership in the various communities, can consolidate ourselves to be recognized. We should be a group that will ask the Liberian government what are they doing for their citizens. We should be in that position to do it. It is our right as well, So the embassy is the medium by which we should channel those discussions. But if they can't give us the services that we need, then it becomes a problem. Then who do we go to? Because I cannot sit here and call my Bonkane citizen, my Bonkane representative, no, because I do not live in Bonkane at this time. So the person I can talk to now is the ambassador here in the United States. But if they are not answering our questions, they cannot answer their phone, they can't answer their email, then who do we turn to when we have problems? That is why our citizens are overlooked in this country. Our citizens are not, once anything happens to them, nobody has questions. They can do anything to any Liberian and nobody will ask questions. We can't continue that.
Sabalosa, let me respond to Reverses Pro question here, or statement here. I think when I was talking about the reason we do not need online form right now, he thought I was talking about the security of the form. The internet will provide security, Reverses Pro. From my understanding of technology, when you create a website to put a credit card on there, the first thing you have to do is to secure that credit card transaction. So those credit card companies already have system in place to secure your transaction. The failure I'm talking about is the failure of the system we have right now in processing passports. When you send your passport to the Liberian Embassy, you mail it in. Somebody received the hard copy, they look at it. You have a check in there, they take out a check, they put your paper under the table. That process is what is failing. You understand? So even if you create an online form, that online form has something that has sometimes online forms are automated, right? But somebody still have to look at your visa, your passport, and stamp it. That simple passport stamping process is not correct. If it's not fixed, you can have the best online form where we can just say, hey, Google, send me my fill up my Liberian Embassy application visa, my visa to Liberia. Google and fill out that application for you and submit it. Once that application gets submitted by Google, that's it. Nobody is taking action, because the first thing you still have to mail in your passport, right? Or like Dominican Republic, right? I don't actually have to I don't have to mail in my passport. You go and fill up an online form, right? Say I want to come to Dominican Republic. They say, how long are you coming for? They say you're coming for 2 days, 2 weeks. They say, okay, what is your country visa? You send a copy of your passport. You understand? You send a copy of your passport, and then they mail you an electronic visa, and that visa is what you print to send to take to to take to the airport. And I think Liberia need to switch to that process so that it can reduce the process. That's the way it will be electronic, and then it can reduce the process of people losing their stuff, because that one is a big money making system for Liberia, because you submit the form, you submit your money, and they just review that. Somebody click another electronic form with the ambassador signature or the president's signature on it, and they send you that visa with your name on it. So all they're doing is the form is going in and taking your name and putting it in that form. And so Stephen Keller is now giving a visa to Liberia for 10 days, and then that visa come to you in your email. You can print it out, and then you go to Liberia. So if the process of somebody opening the passport and stamping it, if that process is broken, like River Pro is saying, maybe the online version will be ideal, but it has to be totally online, right? In order for it to work. Because if you still give people the chance to go and stamp your passport, that process is what is not working. And in order for us to fix that, we need to totally automate it. Sapolosia, go ahead.
Yeah, so and integrity is an issue that we have. That's why unprofessionalism is being exercised at our various entities. And I hope we can find a solution to it. It is about time that, in my opinion, Liberian community leaders come together. Because most of the time, if it doesn't happen to me, then hey, it's okay. But I don't think that's how we should be looking at these issues, because this could be a stumbling block also to potential investors in Liberia, because I'm sure it's not only happening here in the United States. Because and that's where people tend to have this maybe it's an inferiority complex issue, where you would give credence to a Caucasian man or somebody from European descent than your own person who is an African descent. I mean, it's just I don't even know what word to describe that, but it doesn't make sense to me that will happen. I think everyone should be treated with respect regardless of what. Okay, so if I'm coming there to give you money, that what should matter. But if other guy is coming and you're going to serve him quick and get him out because he's of different origin, race, rise, then I think it's sad. But Liberians in the diaspora, ULAA, which is one of the umbrella or Liberian organization, we are calling on you. Okay, we're calling on Colosso. I think that's another umbrella organization in the southwest region.
Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're calling on you to now take this initiative. That is why you call yourself Umbrella Organization of Liberians in the United States. This is the role you're supposed to play. You are the one that's supposed to be standing up for Liberians, just like when we're doing the dual citizenship. As you foster those, I know some people tend to do this thing based on political gain, but I don't think that's what we should always use our platform for. We should use our platform to promote what will benefit our citizens in general, regardless of what I get from it. Okay, that's what I think we should do. So ULAA, Colosso, this is time that you step up, and all Liberian organizations in the various cities and states. It is time that we put our voices together and address this issue with our embassy. Let them streamline the visa process, the passport process, and other embassy or processes or services that we as Liberians or Liberians descent benefit from. Let them streamline it in a way that we can have access to it, and let them feel protected by the Liberian embassy here. Because many a times our people, some of them are falsely accused of things, and they get ill-treated in other countries, not only America, but the Liberian government don't step up. So why is it you don't care for your citizens? But these are the very people you're asking for when they come to the States, they're asking us to support them to become elected. When you're in the country, you run behind the people to get elected to offices. You're still using all of us to gain the power you have. So why not reciprocate the same services to us? We elect you, we put you in offices, come back to us and serve us as we want you to serve us. Mm-hmm. It is about time that we change the way of thinking. That's the only way Liberia will develop. If Liberia will rise, it will take every one of us working together. Not some people marginalizing a certain group. So the embassy is, you owe us that responsibility to serve us. You are our representative. You are our mediator. You are the medium in which or through which we should communicate to our government in Liberia and to the American government or any country that you're in. It is you that we need to speak on our behalf. you know.
All right, so Sapolosi, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna challenge myself. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this a Liberian way, right? When I was talking earlier, I said I'm gonna start a class action lawsuit, but I'm gonna pause on that for a minute. What I would do, since you talk about Colossus, you talk about the Liberian Community Association, I have my president number here, right? He have the ambassador number. I don't have the ambassador number, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call my community president in Dallas. You can do the same for your community president. I'm going to call the Colossus president. I think I have his number, one of the leaders in Colossus. I'm going to call him, and this will be my request. Guys, we are challenging you to work with the Liberian Embassy to fix the passport issue that we are constantly having, right? If that is not fixed, or if they can't come back with any solution, then the next step will be to file a class action lawsuit, or maybe go another easy route, go to my state representative and say, hey, I'm a Liberian in the US. Every time I apply for my visa or every time I apply for passport, my money gets stuck in that system. We don't get our money back. So can you help us to pursue this embassy to make sure that they are working on the process? Now, if that doesn't work too, maybe we can come together and write our president a letter, or we can make some online statement, post it on the eMansion Facebook page, or do whatever we can to get that message out. Because I think without filing a lawsuit, I think the government of Liberia need to take this seriously. This is a lot of money they are missing, right? The fact that people cannot come to Liberia, our country is losing money. Other countries are making a lot of money from tourism. Other countries are making a lot of money from people coming and investing in their country. The first process that make people to come is your visa process, your passport process, how people get passport, how fast that process is. If that process is broken, then we are losing a lot of money. So I'm going to take it easier and say we need to work on our own terms, like try and get some action taken on this. If that action doesn't work, then the next step will be a class action lawsuit against the Liberian Embassy. You understand? So that, because once they see some lawyer pushing them to say everybody that paid that 150, even my mom was involved, right? That they can give that woman her money back in Liberia. That 150 will do her a great deal in Liberia right now where she stands, right? But that money is not coming back. That money is not coming back to her anymore. And so many other people, even though 10 people you mentioned that are traveling to Liberia, they pay their money, and then that money is sitting there, and somebody told them to pay another $50, right? So if they pay 150 first, 10 of them, that was 1,500, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
they're going to pay another $50 each again. That's $500. So $2,000. After paying $2,000, you still cannot get the service you need. Somebody need to be answering questions. And where is that money going? Is it really going to the Liberian government, or is it staying right in DC there with the people that are doing the passport process? So that's something we need to find out. If our ambassador is stealing the Liberian people money, let them change him. Right? Because the process is broken. They put him there as a CEO to make sure the process works. If that process is failing under him, they need to fire him and then put somebody new there that will make the process better. You understand?
Yeah. I don't know about firing, because if you follow the news, I think the government has suspended more than 454 people. So they can only suspend. I don't know why they can't take the real action, but that's another discussion for another day. But this is what we really need to get on this issue. And I think while you're waiting for your class action lawsuit, I think I'm going to find another route to go with, but I'm not going to pronounce it now before somebody take a steam or thunder. But this is something that we need to do. We need to take other actions that we as Liberians can start to hold our people accountable, because accountability is lacking here, in my opinion, from what I've seen. This is not something that just started. It's just not under this Bwaka government, not just the WIA government. It was under Ellen Johnson government as well, because I went in to Liberia 2017. I faced the same problem. So it's a continuous thing that is continuing. Is nothing is changing. So we need to tackle it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to tackle it now so that we don't lose or we don't lose the resources that we are losing every time. But yeah, so we are about to leave, Dr. Positive. Before we leave, any closing statement before we get out of here?
All right, let me go full stream so they can know that me alone talking. They want now you included.
Go ahead.
All right. So to my fellow Liberians, again, to those that have been impacted by this, I want to say sorry. You've been trying to travel to see your family members. I want to apologize, sadly, on behalf of our Liberian government. The system for applying for passport, the system for obtaining a visa is broken. And I'm sorry that you, your family members, your friends were all impacted by this. We as a online platform, we kind of like are representing the Liberian people. And in order for Liberia to rise, we believe some of these things have to be fixed. So we will take every action we can. We will pursue this in an amicable way. Like I said, we will pursue this gradually in the Liberian way to make sure that we do something that can help our people. Now, if we take the nicer path, and no action is taken as soon as possible, we're going to take the legal path. So hold on. If you are impacted, when I send out my survey, please fill up that survey. It's going to be two or three questions. Have you applied for visa in Liberia before, at the Liberian Embassy before? Was your visa obtained? And if no, yes, or something like that, you just answer that question and you just submit it. You just have to put something for us to know that a Liberian did it, or maybe your name or something, or we can make it anonymous, but we have to have an email address may do, but we will come up with that form eventually once we pursue the other route. And if no action is taken, like I said, then we'll come up with the class action lawsuit part. But in order to do a class action lawsuit, you have to have a certain amount of people that have been impacted by that process. So we will, like I said, we'll pursue the safer route, the amicable route, where as Liberians, we like to go to the town chief and discuss stuff. So our town chief will be our community president, Coloso's president, and all the other people will reach out to them, and they can reach out to the Liberian Embassy. And then we ourselves will try to reach out to the Liberian Embassy and see what they're doing to get this process fixed. If they don't take any action, then we'll take other action that will be necessary to help the Liberian people. On that note, I want to say thank you to Sapolosia for coming up with this show. And again, on behalf of this platform, even though it's not our fault, I apologize to those that are impacted by the unprofessionalism of our Liberian Embassy. Hopefully, we will work with them to make them professional. It will be our goal to make sure that this process becomes right for the Liberian people. So I want to thank you. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Mr. Sapolosia.
Thank you, Dr. Positive. Remember, he doesn't like to talk. He's a shy guy. So, but I don't want to see if he was a talkative. But anyway, Liberians, we want to say thank you for tuning in to Liberia Shall Rise. And if Liberia Shall Rise, we have to take care of issues and hold one another accountable. And I believe the way we can move forward is to hold me, you, your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, everybody. The Liberian way. Let me speak the real Liberian English. We need to hold us one another. We need to hold us responsible, make us accountable. Even the man at your man, the person at your man, the person at your pa, hold them accountable. When they change their way, it will make your life better. It will make their life better. So let us work together. I'm calling on Colosso. I'm calling on ULAA. I'm calling on the various Liberian associations in the United States or organizations in the United States. Let us come together, brainstorm, call your leaders, call the various leaders. Let us brainstorm on ways that we can streamline these problems at our Liberian Embassy. The Liberian Embassy is Liberia in America or in wherever country you are. They represent you and they represent the government. Let us all work together and make the process better. I know they are answerable to the government in Liberia, but they should know also they are here because of us. Because if the Liberians are not in America, you don't need an embassy here. But because Liberians are here, that is why you have an embassy here, because you're going to represent us. So please, let us petition our people to do the right thing by their people. Let us start practicing these principles that we see around us, especially the employees of the embassy. You go to Walmart all the time. You do customer service. People do customer service for you. You go to your very network, the internet that you have or you're using, the cell phone that you're using. You go to those entities and they give you customer service. Now, it is your time to provide that service to your Liberian people, and you're not doing us justice. Every time we hear all these cry all the time that if you go there, somebody is walking away from you when you're asking them questions that about services that they provide at the embassy. And we need to also, I'm calling on the new ambassador. I think you've been there for a year now, but I'm calling on you and those that work over there. So please update your website as often as possible. You need update. We need to have news or letter of things that are happening in our country. We need to be abreast with those issues so that it can serve us. And we need to stand up for our citizens in this country as well. Let us. They don't even. The ambassadors don't even visit the various states. I've been here for a long time. I've not heard where they visited major cities in this country. We don't have to always invite you. You are our representative. You need to take up time, make that part of your schedule, and say, okay, I'm going to visit New York City. Now, when the president is there, and visit the Liberian community there. I'm going to visit Atlanta. I'm going to visit Houston. I'm going to visit San Diego. These various cities, that should be your job, to see how the Liberians are feeling in these places and what they need. You are our president in America. So you need to reach out to us to see how we're doing, or send your representative to these various cities and know about your people. And then you will know what we need, and we'll tell you what we need. And who knows? You got a lot of professional Liberians here. But unfortunately, we are not working together, and we need to. With that, Liberians, again, I want us to work together, because collaboration is the hallmark of the game. If we can collaborate, Liberia will become better. If Liberia shall rise, we all need to work together. Mr. Ambassador, I don't know if you are watching us or if you watch us, but if you hear this message, please take action. It is now time to make the visa process, the passport process, all services at the Liberian Embassy in America and other places, to make it better, so that your citizens can be encouraged and they can encourage other people to come and do business with you. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Riverset Pro, our most loyal audience. We want to say thank you for joining. Jackie, we say thank you for joining us today. And every other person that joined, we want to say thank you. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend.